Hey, it's me, Brent. I have a couple shows coming up that I want to let you know about. May 5th, I'm doing a show in Los Angeles at the Lyric Hyperion Theater. It's a 9:30 show, and that is a Tuesday, so beware if you care about it being a school night. And then on May 7th, I'm doing a show in Boston, Massachusetts at the Comedy Studio, and that's a 7:30 show. So just look up the information I mentioned on the internet, and that should bring you to some more information and how to get tickets and so forth. And I hope to see you there. Welcome to the Brent Weinbach podcast. My name is Brent Weinbach, and I was at the airport recently. Well, it was kind of a few weeks ago. It might have even been a month ago. No, whatever. It doesn't even matter. Okay, who cares, right? It doesn't matter when I was there, but I was there in the last month or so, and I was hungry. I hadn't eaten, and I thought to myself, even on the way to the airport, I thought, I want to get a Wetzel's pretzel. Because they have Wetzel's pretzel sometimes in the airport. Actually, most of the time there's a Wetzel's pretzel. And I'm kind of a sucker for a cheese-dipped pretzel. I love a salty pretzel that I could just dip into some cheese sauce. And it's a good little snack, It's a good little item to tide me over for until I eat something more full. I felt like, at the airport, you're kind of on the go, and when you're on the go, it just really works to just get a pretzel and dip some cheese into it. Granted, it is a little bit of a messy ordeal. I mean, it's not the most ideal setting for a Wetzel's pretzel. I think the most ideal setting for a Wetzel's pretzel would be I can get it served to me on a plate with a side sort of bowl of the cheese sauce, and I've already gone to the bathroom and washed my hand and kept my eating hand clean. My wiping hand, that will be used to sort of, move my cup and, so I could drink water or whatever. I probably wouldn't drink it like that. I'd drink it more like this. And if you're just listening to this, I'm doing a sucking face, because I'm sucking on a straw. Definitely got to use a straw when it comes to eating, drinking water in a public place, that is, But anyway, wiping hand is used for, and by the way, I don't wipe with this hand. I'm just calling this the wiping hand. I'm talking about my left hand. I'm calling this my wiping hand in the tradition of certain countries that designate the left hand to be the wiping hand. Even though when you think about it, wiping with your left hand is... Well, if you're not left-handed, that would be pretty hard. I don't know if you're going to do as thorough of a job. But I know that when I went to India, they wouldn't accept. I accidentally gave a taxi driver money with my, I think, left hand, and he didn't accept it. He kind of made a motion to me, said no. And so then I was with somebody that said, oh, you're using the wrong hand. You got to use your eating hand. And he said, and so I did, I switched the money to my right hand, and he accepted the money. So he's thinking to myself that my right hand is my eating hand and my left hand is my wiping hand, but he doesn't know, what hand I am. I could be right-handed. I could be left-handed, that is. So I don't know. For all he knows, he just took money from my wiping hand, because I would assume that people wipe with the hand that they are. I mean, I don't know. Maybe in India, it doesn't matter what hand you are, that you have to wipe with your left hand. But I'll tell you, boy, oh boy, most people are right-handed. That means people are not wiping thoroughly enough if they have to use their left hand to wipe, and they're not left-handed. So there might be some dirty butts out there. I mean, no offense, but I'm just saying, if that is the case, if you have to wipe with your left hand and you're not left-handed, it might be kind of dirty. There might be some dirty smells. So anyway, I think that if I was raised in a country where I had to use my left hand, I would probably cheat. And I'd probably use my right hand secretly to wipe with. You know why? It's not like you're wiping in front of anybody. It's not like I'm wiping in front of the taxi driver, So he doesn't know. He doesn't have to. I guess, it's not like my butt is going to reject my hand for not using the right hand. But what if that was the case, though? What if the culture was so ingrained into one's psyche that their butts rejected the hand? So, okay, you're meant to offer money to people with your right hand. That's the clean hand. Your dirty hand's the left hand because that's the one to wipe. Okay, so if you were right-handed and you were so psyched out or psyched up on, you got to use your left hand to wipe or whatever, but then there was another part of you that said, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to use my right hand to wipe because I'm right-handed. What if your butt just clenched up and it wouldn't let you wipe? What if that you had this kind of dichotomy or something, that where you're at odds with yourself because of the pressure of society but then your own desire, to wipe with a hand that is better suited to wiping, and your butt just clenched up and it just wouldn't let you wipe. And then you switch the tissue to your left hand, and then the butt just goes wide open. It's just the cheeks spread all the way, and they fully accept your tissue. It's kind of the same process, basically. Basically, your butt is the taxi man. Your butt is the cab driver, and the tissue is the money. Basically, that's how it is. In a way, I guess. Tissue is sort of the currency of the toilet, when you think about it. It's paper, they're paper products. And, some people wipe their butt with money. Do you know about that? I've heard about this. I've heard some people who are really on an upper echelon level of wealth that they wipe their butts with money, but they don't realize that that's dirty unless this money is freshly printed. But come on, there's money. Most money is exchanged somebody's hands. You don't want someone's hands touching your money, right? That's so dirty. People's hands are dirty. Their hands are dirty because people are wiping with it. They're touching money. You don't want that. You don't want people's hands on your stuff that you're going to put on sensitive parts of your body, such as your butt crack, And that kind of brings me back to the Wetzel pretzel, because the Wetzel, you don't want to put. Well, anyway, you do. Okay, so when I'm at the airport. Okay, I'm at the airport. You're not the airport. I'm at the airport, and I'm thinking, okay, I got to find a Wetzel, but I had some things to take care of, just finding the gate. I like to get settled kind of first and know where my gate is and things. And anyway, I'm walking around, and then I see it. I see a Wetzel's pretzel. It was actually the other brand. It was called Auntie Anne's, I think it's called Auntie Anne's. But, some people call it an Auntie Anne's. I call it a Wetzel's pretzel. And so I said, woo, there it is. I said, whoop, there it is. That's the pretzel I was looking for. It's all the same, right? And I kind of get settled, and I think, okay, I think I'm ready to go eat my pretzel. I'm excited because I love dipping a pretzel into some cheese sauce. It's good. I went up to the counter, and the woman greeted me, and she said, "What you want?" I don't know. She was I think she was Eastern European or something. She was definitely from another country. I'm thinking Eastern European. And so, yeah, she asked me what I wanted, and I said, I'll take a Wetzel's pretzel, please. I'll say one Wetzel and some cheese sauce. And she said, okay, one Wetzel coming up. And just as she okay, well, let me say this first. I did ask, I said, also, can you put the cheese in a separate bag? And the reason I asked that is because I don't want this cheese packet, which has been handled by various hands, and I don't even want it handled by her hand. I don't want that to be in this. They'll put that usually in the same bag as the pretzel, and it will touch the pretzel that I put, in my mouth. So I don't want the germs from the pack of the, of the cheese to, get on the pretzel and, kind of ruin the pretzel. So I said, can you put it in another bag? She goes, okay, or whatever. I don't know if she fully understood me, but anyway, as she was taking the pretzel out of the thing, and she's using a piece of, kind of a pretzel paper to pick it up, she takes it out, and just as she rises it out of the thing, she coughs in the direction of the pretzel. And not just the pretzel, but on her hand as well. So that made me not want the pretzel. And I didn't even want another pretzel because she coughed on her hand as well, and I didn't want her hand to touch anything else, I didn't want, so what I said was, in that moment, this is what I did. She coughed in the direction of the pretzel and her hand. I gave it a couple beats, and I said to her, "Oh shoot, I just realized I'm not supposed to eat that." And I think that's what I said. I don't exactly remember, but I think that's pretty much what I said. Oh shoot, I just remembered I'm not supposed to eat any Wetzel's pretzels. I said, "Oh shoot, I'm not supposed to eat other people's germs. I just remembered I'm not supposed to eat any coughed up germs." And she said, "What do you mean coughed up germs?" And I said, "Oh, I'm not supposed to put germs from another person's mouth into my mouth." And she goes, "What do you mean other person's mouth?" I said, "From a cough." And she said, "What do you mean cough?" No, I don't know. We went on, and it was kind of a crowd started to develop around us. And after we were done with our performance, we got some tips, and I got enough money that I said, "You know what? Wetzel's on the house. A round of Wetzels for everybody here." No, it did almost kind of seem like a vaudevillian act, though, didn't it, just now? Well, it wasn't like that. That was sort of what I wish happened in a way. I mean, maybe we could have turned it into something, maybe we could have gone on the road together, this woman and me. But, no, what happened is I said, "Oh, shoot, I'm not supposed to," I just remembered I'm not supposed to eat that, or I shouldn't eat that, or something like that. And I made it sound like it was maybe some sort of medical condition or something like that. I just remembered I have a medical condition where I'm not supposed to eat, pretzels that have been coughed on. And I don't think she fully understood me, but she did understand to something of a degree that I was passing on the pretzel. And she might have even said, "So no pretzel, no Wetzel." She said, "So no Wetzel." And I said, "Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to pass. Yeah, sorry. I just remembered. I'm so sorry." I don't know. She understood what I meant, and I walked away, and I was disappointed because I was looking forward to eating that dang thing. But she had to cough on it. Why? Why did she have to cough on it? Sometimes I feel like people just don't. I don't know. They're not aware enough of the presence they are imposing onto other people. And I mean that in terms of germs, and I mean that in terms of a lot of things. There's a lot of things going on like that. What did I do instead of getting the Wetzel, by the way? I think I ended up having to go. I think I went to a Starbucks, and I just said, I got a bagel, I think I got one of those Asiago cheese bagels. It was kind of in the vein of a pretzel in a way, right? I got it with some cream cheese, It's not quite the same, but, it was something, to tie me over until I had a fuller meal later on. But people are just not aware. I mean, what's she doing coughing on this pretzel? I mean, come on, she could have, whatever, Hey, you know what? Maybe it was a good thing. It was a good thing that she coughed on it because that let me know that she might have been sick, and there might have been some sickness on it. Anyway, all right, enough of that. So I was at this show. I don't know if I should talk about this actually because I don't know. I doubt the person would ever hear it, but it has to do with sort of being aware of space. But first of all, what's up with people who just talk so close to you? Damn, it's crazy. Some people just are right in your face, Some people, okay, there's people who are like that. Sometimes sound people could be like that. If they're micing you, they get right inside of you. They're all touching up on you, and they're kind of. It's weird how sometimes it almost seems like they're going to kiss you, and they don't need to be that close. Their hands can get close, but their face doesn't need to be that close. They're all getting in there, kind of trying to kiss you and stuff while they mic you up. But sometimes, look, this is what I'm really getting at. I'll talk about it. It's not a big deal. But I was talking to somebody. It's somebody I know, and he's a cool guy. I like the guy. But he had a drink in his hand, and he was talking and gesticulating with the drink. I probably talked about this before, but why do people do that? Why are people not just use your other hand? Think about how they do it in India. Use one hand for drinks, the other one for gesticulating. Separate it. Use your... Okay, look. The right hand is for eating, I think. Use that for the drink hand. Use it for drinking, but gesticulate with your dirty hand, okay? Because, you want to... When you're gesticulate... First of all, gesticulating sounds kind of like a dirty word a little bit. Oh, he just gesticulated all over the place. First of all, gesticulate, it almost... The word stick is in there. That kind of makes you think of sticky, so it's a dirty word, gesticulate. Sounds kind of like masturbate also. You're going to want to do that with your left hand. So just use your left hand to gesticulate. Look, I'm doing it right now. Unless you got a free hand, if your hand is not doing any drinking or eating, come on. All right, fine. You could use your right hand. But anyway, he's, gesticulating with his right hand, and he's moving his cup, and the stuff is spilling out of the cup. All right, maybe not this time, but I was scared that it was going to. And I've seen it do that before. I've seen people gesticulate with their... What are the people think? I guess they're drunk is what it is, and they don't realize what they're doing. But this person didn't seem drunk, and I've sometimes seen people who aren't drunk, and who knows? Maybe they are. Sometimes I can't tell. Sometimes people are not really obvious that they're drunk. Some people are, though. Some people turn into goblins. I know this one guy. He turns into a goblin when he gets drunk. He was actually at the same place. He is a normal, cool guy. And as he drinks, he becomes a Mr. Hyde. He becomes this sort of goblin of sorts. It's weird. He even physically changes. He kind of starts to hunch over and kind of his face starts to look like this. I know the listeners can't see this, but I'm kind of squinching my eye, my brow, over the nose, and he kind of starts talking a little bit like this. I'm serious. This is a real guy. Actually, I say this. I think it's okay to say this, but Andy Dick has got substance abuse problems. It's pretty well known. I don't think I'm talking out of turn here or whatever, but one time I was at a party at a comedy festival. It was a sort of after party, and Andy Dick, he got really intoxicated, and he was going up to people, and he sounded like this. Andy Dick sounded like this when he talked. He talked like this. And he started groping, he gropes people. And he started groping, he started touching somebody. And I told somebody, I said, if he gets near me with his hand, I'm out of here. And at one point, he did start to reach out to me, and I got out of there. and he started chasing after me. And then we all kind of left, and he started chasing after all of us. And we were basically playing tag with Andy Dick, or maybe it was, or something like that. It was kind of, I guess it was tag or something. But, he was moving kind of slowly because it was kind of like a zombie. I mean, he seemed like a zombie, and we were kind of running away and stuff. And I ran outside of the party, and I turned to my friend and I said, you know what? This is the most fun I've had at this comedy festival this whole week, And it was, actually. And now maybe this is kind of wrong of us, but then we went back in and tried to find Andy Dick to try to get him to chase us again because we thought it would have been fun. Before, I was doing it because I really wanted to get away from him. But then I thought, well, this is actually kind of fun. But, we were hiding at a certain point behind things. But anyway, whatever on that. I mean, look, I don't mind saying this about Andy Dick because he does messed up stuff. I mean, he touches men and women very inappropriately. He grabs people's vaginas, balls, everything. He touches everything. He sticks fingers in butts, and not without even any tissue. And he uses his right hand to do it. He uses his right hand to stick his fingers into people's butt cracks, and that's just wrong. I mean, they wouldn't tolerate that in India, I'll tell you that much. And so I don't mind kind of saying that, I guess, because, he doesn't. I'm not trying to talk crap or anything. I'm saying I don't agree with, I am talking crap a little bit. No, I'm not talking crap. I'm just saying I don't approve of people invading people's space like that. He'll stick his fingers up people's vaginas sometimes, men and women. And anyway, so the drink thing, so people turn into goblins. There's another guy I know, I'm not Andy Dick, there's another guy I know who turns into a goblin. It's weird how it's really truly a Jekyll and Hyde situation. But the Hyde is more sort of creature-like than, the Hyde we might have read about, it's, or even seen in movies. It's a sort of, he almost kind of becomes a Andy Dick, He almost becomes a dick. No, but he just becomes weird and hard to understand, and it's weird. His body, he almost starts to develop claws almost, his hands become claws. It sounds like I'm exaggerating. This is not I'm serious. But anyway, the gesticulating, it's got to stop with the drinks. I mean, I feel in some way that maybe some people gesticulate with the drink because they think it's cool, maybe, or something. You know what I mean? It seems kind of casual or something. I'm just casually drinking and I'm gesticulating with my hand that it's holding the drink. And I think in some ways it adds some sort of it animates them in a way that makes them in their mind think that they look like a cool cartoon character or something like that, maybe. I don't know. I think it sort of, in some ways, stylizes them or something. Stylizes what they're saying, and it makes it look kind of cool or something in their mind. I don't think it's cool because it's getting mess everywhere. And I've seen it happen. I've seen the drinks spill out onto me, even from gesticulating. Stop with that gesticulating, please. I know I complain a lot. And I'm probably more uptight than the average person. I know I am. But I think some of you got to agree that we got to stop with this gesticulating with this drink hand. I've seen people waste half their drink from gesticulating. They don't even drink the dang thing. It's all spilled out. I've seen it spill out. Anyway, fortunately it didn't spill out this time, but I just thought, gosh, watch it. Whenever I see somebody I don't even want to be around someone with a drink now because I'm afraid they're going to spill it on me somehow because they're basically almost tossing it on you. So, anyway, that's something to watch out for. There's another, now I'll save that for later, but okay, so at the same show that I was at where the gesticulator was, the gesticulator sounds like some sort of device that you use to, I don't know, tickle your ball sack or something, doesn't it? Or maybe your butt crack. Use the gesticulator. I mean, gesticulate really just doesn't sound like doesn't sound like the action it's supposed to mean. But they should probably change the definition of gesticulate to mean, I don't know, tickle one's taint or something like that, or something like that, or maybe pluck the hairs of a taint or something like that. But anyway, I was at that show, and two people, I performed on it. I did stand-up comedy, and two people, I know we've talked about this on the podcast before, maybe when Doug was around, but not one, but two people complimented me by saying congratulations. They were together, okay? It wasn't two different, people that were separate sort of entities, but that's just the weirdest compliment to me, is to say congratulations. When would you say that to somebody? I've had it done before. It's not the first time. I've had it done. And in fact, actually, one time, Robin Williams said congratulations to me at a show. He came to a show. This was in, I want to say 2006. He came to a show, I don't know, to watch it. He was with Lance Armstrong, and it was a small show. It wasn't some popular show. I mean, it was an okay attended show. I mean, people went to it. And it was somewhat known, but it wasn't some sort of packed out, kind of who's who kind of show. And it was 2006, and it was in Los Angeles. And Robin Williams came in there, and Lance Armstrong. They're sitting together. And Robin Williams did end up going on stage at one point and doing some sort of set. But I think that night he turned into a goblin too. He was sober before, and I think that night he went to a bar and kind of became some sort of goblin. I heard he was dancing on the table at some bar. But he did break his sobriety that night, I think. But anyway, after the show, he complimented me and he said, "Congratulations." What are you congratulating me on? For being funny? I mean, that's just interesting to me. That's an interesting thing. But yeah, at this show that I was at where the gesticulator was, the gesticulator sounds like some sort of someone who would work in a dungeon, with gimps. You know what I mean? Bring out the gesticulator. The gesticulator tortures the gimp or something like that. You know what I mean? I feel like the gesticulator, he doesn't torture the. This is what the gist. Okay, the dungeon master is the one who kind of tortures the gimp, but the gesticulator, I feel like, kind of fluffs them up a little bit, or he gets them ready for the dungeon. But he kind of teases the gimp or something. A gimp teaser, that's what it is. Okay, a gesticulator should be a gimp teaser. I think that's the new definition. Yeah, and that's what I kind of think. That's how I think I could tell people who are gesticulating with their with the wrong hand, with the drinking hand. I should say, "Hey, you're being a gesticulator, right? You're being a real gesticulator right now." And they say, "What do you mean by that?" I say, "It means that you should just get out of here and go to the dungeon and start, teasing some gimps, because I don't want those. I don't want that drink spilling on me. You understand? I ain't no gimp. All right, a gimp might like a drink getting, some droplets of a drink spilling onto their crotches or whatever, onto their pants. That's the thing with a drink, is if you spill a drink, you might get it onto someone's crotch, and it makes it look like they went pee-pee or whatever. Anyway, a gimp might like that, but I ain't no gimp. So take that to the dungeon. You and your gesticulating ways. So anyway, these guys came up to me after the show, and he said, he goes, "Oh man, congratulations, that was really funny," or something like that. No, he didn't even say that. He just said, "Oh, congratulations, I really enjoyed that," or something like that. Is that what he said? I in my mind, I remember thinking to myself, it doesn't sound like he's complimenting me. It just sounds like he's saying congratulations. No, he did say something like that. He said, "Oh, congratulations, that was really good." And then this guy who was with him said, "Yeah, man, congrats." I swear, I'm not making that up. He said, "Congratulations, that was really good, entertaining." And the other guy went, "Yeah, congrats." What? Where did they learn how to do compliments? I've never done that before. I've never said congratulations to somebody. Okay, I'm trying to think about other art forms. Okay, have you ever gone up to a musician and said, "Congratulations, that was really good music. That was really good playing"? Or congratulations on this painting. This is just really you really captured you really captured Alf's likeness. If somebody painted a portrait of Alf, I'm talking about Alf from the TV show Alf. Okay, I know some of your minds went to Alfie, the film with what's his name, Michael Caine, and you were thinking, oh, are you calling him Alf for short? Because that makes sense. There's a guy named Alf Clausen, isn't there? A guy named Alf Clausen. I've seen his name on stuff somewhere. Anyway, no, I was. You don't say congratulations to people. I've never heard of that. I mean, you might say congratulations to somebody if they had a one-man show that they had an opening night on or something. Congratulations on the show or something. Congratulations on your set. I mean, I guess it sort of makes sense, I guess. Congratulations on achieving this level of entertainment or this level of funny. I guess it makes sense. But it's just weird. Congratulations on being this good, I guess. You know what? It sounds like I'm being I'm rejecting this as a compliment, but it does make sense, but it also just sounds weird. Okay, call me old-fashioned, but it just doesn't. It sounds kind of weird to me, I guess. But it does make sense. All right, I'll admit it does make sense. So fair enough. But it was weird because you don't hear it often, and it was weird that I heard it twice in the same night. That it was the same guys. One guy saying congratulations, the other guy added on to it, said, "Yeah, congrats." I just did something I do, many nights a week, but. Whatever. Hey, look, you know what? I appreciate it. Thank you, I said. Congratulations. Thank you. Sometimes people say thank you. Thank you so much for that. I needed that. And I say to them, congratulations. Whenever someone says thank you, I say congratulations. No, I do say you're welcome. I say you're welcome. Actually what I say is I usually say thank you. I say it kind of like it's an insult. They say, Thank you so much for that. And I go, no, thank you. Thank you, you prick. I say, thank me? Thank you. Thank me? Thank you, prick. I say, what, you going to thank me? Nah, thank you. This is one more thing. It's related to germs, I think. And then there's another thing related to germs, but I will talk about that probably in the extended portion of the episode. Oh gosh, I forgot. I've got a lot of, now you know what? All right, real quick. I hate to say it. I used to go to Lee's Sandwich. There's a Lee's Sandwiches I would go to. And I'm not saying all Lee's sandwiches are like this. But there's nothing to even say about this. All I'll say is that I was in Lee's Sandwiches, and I was first of all, this place has always seemed like a place that might have roaches to me, but it doesn't. I've looked in corners of the place. When I order the sandwich, I look, and I've looked behind refrigerators, and I've looked in the crevices of the place, and I never saw any evidence of roach activity, okay? And I've been going there for a few years, several years. But I went there recently, and you know where this is going, I guess. First off, there was a woman working behind the counter, and the way she was handling my stuff, I didn't like it. She had gloves on, but she was using the same gloved hands to deal with the cash register, which I didn't use money, but other people do. And as you know, money is dirty. And, she's touching this cash register, and then she went in the back, and I don't know what she was touching back there. She probably was, touching dirty stuff back there. And then she was handling the food and stuff, and I didn't like that. I already in my mind was thinking, I don't know if I'm going to want to go here again. I don't like the way that the food is being handled here. And then I started looking around, and I saw 2 dead roaches in the place. I saw one that was kind of near this refrigerator, another one near the bathroom. Actually, I don't even know if that one was dead. It was on its back. Sometimes they just play dead. So, that roaches play dead sometimes. They fake it. I'm not kidding. They fake being dead sometimes because roaches are one of the last bugs that still get a kick out of playing make-believe. And in that way, I relate to the roach because I like to play make-believe. I like doing acting jobs, and I like to, pretend. And I think these roaches like to do that too. Sometimes they do it as a survival technique, I think. Sometimes they just like to relax. Sometimes I see these roaches on their back and they're just kind of relaxing, kind of getting to know themselves. And then you see their legs move around. I didn't see this one moving, but you never know. He could have been faking it. He could have been maybe he was hired for an acting job. There's a whole roach sort of motion picture or theater. There's a theater scene, for roaches. I know I'm kind of humanizing roaches here, and they're not really like that. But there was this one time when I was at a hotel, and it was roach season. It was in Texas, and it was really humid out. There was roaches everywhere. And I remember being at this, you've heard me tell this story before probably, but I was at the computer. I was using the internet in the lobby because, for many years, I just never even traveled with a laptop. I would just use the internet at the hotel in the lobby. And I was using the internet. I saw something fly, a bird fly into the room or something like that. And I looked down. It wasn't that it flew into the room. A roach had dropped from the ceiling and onto the keyboard, and it was right in front of me. I backed up, and I thought he needed to use the internet. The roach needed to use the internet, and I let him use it because I think he'd been waiting, and I guess I cut in front of him. I didn't realize. But I did see the website that he went to, and it was something of a salacious site. It wasn't an adult site. It was a porno site. It was called www. As I recall, it was www.hotthrobbingcockroaches.net. I think it was a net because they're really into that. Those net kind of clothes. Do you think net clothing is attractive? I saw this guy. Fishnet stockings, there's something to that, I got to admit. But there was this one time when I was in Hollywood, and I was with my friend Scott, who was on the podcast. And there was this man he looked European. He was an older man. He must have been in his 60s or something. I would say 65. And he was wearing a net shirt. One of those netted shirts? He had a net shirt on. And my friend Scott said, "Oh, I like your shirt. Where'd you get that shirt?" And the guy went, "Italy." He wasn't Italian. I'm pretty sure he was Russian. But he went, "Italy." And I just thought, oh, that's pretty cool. I thought, oh, I guess that's an Italian. I think netted stuff is an Italian thing. So anyway, I guess maybe these roaches are Italian is what I'm getting at. So after the 2 roaches at Lee's Sandwiches, and along with the woman, the way she was handling the food, I said, I'm not going here ever again. That was it. I'm done. I'm never going there again to Lee's Sandwiches. But I'll go to a different Lee's Sandwiches if it looks clean. But I think if a place looks like it has roaches, it probably has roaches, I think. I don't like roaches, I'll be honest with you. I don't like them, and I never will. In fact, I dislike them as the years go on. I dislike them more as the years go on, and it's really nothing against the roach themselves, but it's just something about those antennas. They're too long, I hate to be disrespectful to anybody, but I just think it's just there's centuries and centuries of roaches disturbing people's minds, and I don't know, I'm part of that. I'm part of that history, I think. You know what it is? It's just roaches just makes you feel like you don't have control over your environment, and I like to have control over my environment. It's invasion. Roaches they are not just symbolic, but they are not symbolic. They are sort of emblematic or something of the phenomenon of people invading your space, you know? Or they're emblematic of not just people, but just creatures, goblins, drunk goblins, and germs invading your space. They basically represent what I don't like and what I've been talking about this whole episode, basically, is a lack of respect of space, you know, something like that. So that's what it's really about, and I think that's what the theme of this episode is you know, is lack of awareness, lack of spatial awareness, lack of spatial boundaries or something like that, you know? And I just hope that, you know, you listening to this, the takeaway is that you start to just, you know, be a little more aware, be a little more considerate, and don't do drugs. Now, I've got some phone messages, but I'm always run out. You know what? This is what I'll do. I will not do the messages. I will just save them. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll do a couple messages in the extended portion of the show. But, but I think I should just do an episode that's just only messages. I know I probably said that last time, but I swear I'll do it next time. I won't talk about anything else. I'll just go right into the messages next time, and it'll just be a full-on messages episode. If you want to leave a message on the phone line here for the podcast, it's 213-207-6952, and I might get into some messages in the extended portion of the episode. What is the extended portion of the episode? How do you get to it? Why am I doing it? I do an extra half hour or so for Patreon. If you want to be a member of Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/poundcast, POUNDCAST. And you can, what can you do there? You can do that. You can go there and you get the episodes usually a couple days early. And, they're extended versions of the episodes. So if you're not on that and you want more, more time, you know, well, go ahead and join. You can also watch the show on YouTube, youtube.com/@Brent Weinbach podcast. I want to thank Jack Birch for his help behind the scenes. And I want to thank you for listening and viewing. And I want to thank you for respecting not just my space, but your own. My name is Brent Weinbach, and I'll see you next week on the Brent Weinbach podcast, or I'll stay with you for a little while longer in the extended portion of the episode. See you next time, or see you in a little bit. Bye-bye.